And I'm now extremely excited to introduce the next part of this session. I'll now hand over to Marcel and Philippe, who are going to talk about their journey with Katana and how it's used at Mikros.
Okay, thanks, Ariel. So let's say just to get a better understanding of how we use Katana and like the projects that we're working on, let's have a look at our show reel. Maybe if you can play that.
Just sit back and watch. People, lights.
Ladies and gentlefish, welcome to the actor room, y'all.
Shh, shh, it's
Juliet, wait, stop! I can explain.
What on earth were you thinking?
I was getting this. Remember this?
You risked getting smashed for some flour?
Not some flour, our flour. I did this for you.
He did it.
Yeah, I'm on my way.
This is amazing. Paw Patrol, ready for action.
Vas-y, mollo sur la frime, quand même.
Bon voyage, boy.
So it was in 2012 actually that Mikros Animation started working on the first animated feature film, which was Asterix and the Mansion of the Gods. And we worked straight away in Katana. That was version 1.4 at the time. And on the right side here, you can see our first, proud splash screen for the production. Since then, we have completed 8 feature animation films with Katana. They all have like very different production challenges and visual style and, in terms of budget as well. And now we have 5 more feature films currently in production. So when we started working on Asterix, honestly, there was not so much of Katana around yet, and we definitely didn't have any experience inside the company. We just started, to create a feature film pipeline. So let's have a look why we chose to have Katana at the heart of that pipeline. The first thing was scale. So the project itself asked for a scale that we hadn't tackled yet in the company. And as Ariel was mentioning already, that recipe-based scene building really allowed us to upscale in scene content. It was the deferred loading that helped a lot with memory management in the big scenes. And at the same time, Katana has this built-in proxy system that allows the lighting artist to always have a very good orientation of where they place the lights during the lighting process. Second thing also mentioned by Ariel was the use of templates and library scenes. So this idea of preparing things in one place and then using it somewhere else in many places, basically, that's at the core of it. And those things are either shared, for us at least, with node graph templates, so prepared node graphs, or directly as look files, attributes that are imported via look files. And that allows to hide away a lot of the technical complexity that comes with in the daily work from a very specific set of artists that basically should never have any knowledge or any look at these things and just concentrate on their artistic workflows and their artistic work. That kind of approach also makes change broadcasting a lot easier because it's just a central place where you change things, and then from there you send it to many different places afterwards. Then, of course, we were also seduced by the sequence-based lighting workflows. So since Katana is node-based, this idea of the data flowing down the graph and inheriting on the different levels played a key role. That picks up that recipe approach before as well. So the scenes are really light, and that means that we can have several, it is a lot actually, of shot scenes inside a single Katana file, and the lighting artist can work on all of them simultaneously and have the light rigs inherit from one shot to another, from key shot to baby shots, or from different levels. And then there is Katana's extensibility through anything that is a custom tool. Already from the beginning, we had a very good support from the Foundry. We even had developers, coming into the studio and showing us how to write our plugins, basically. And there, you can see this example we had used sometimes. We created tools that create many, many nodes, but still Katana just choose through of them because of that recipe approach. And then another important part is that there is a continuous and automated update strategy for those tools. That was particularly important to us because, as we were saying in the beginning, we were still ironing out our pipeline like during the production of Asterix and the Mansion of the Gods. So it was very important to have these tools, to keep having these tools evolving all the time. And then another key point is automation. So Katana really shines in managing things in bulk. And like this, we can minimize human intervention. Basically, we can automate all the steps that can be automated that a human should never touch. So now let's have a look at some of the tools that we were able to build in the past years. Here, this is an early example of a very simple crowd system, actually. So the system is particle-based, and actually all we did is taking the code, the source code of the Alembic in node that is shipped with Katana, and we were extending it to support animation cycles. And then all we had to do is create, 10,000 Alembic nodes inside Katana in order to fill this Colosseum in Rome with the spectators. This is an example of a system that we built to transfer simple rigs between Maya and Katana. So you see they come with their controllers, and the idea is to facilitate the set dressing process and even do part or enable us to do part of the set dressing very late in Katana itself, directly before lighting. We also had plugins for the viewer. So this is an example of a display of open VDB volumes. We also, had custom manipulators for our shaders and lights and light rigs. Up to now, we also maintain a custom cut of the Arnold renderer plugin K2A. That doesn't play. It should. Yep. So this allowed us to integrate custom behavior for light linking, to have geometry baking from inside Katana, to do custom instance source treatment, and to have motion blurred user attributes that could be exported. The pipeline is also based on an in-house scene descriptor format. So we have that operator that brings in our custom scene description along with Alembic. So we made lots of changes finally to the Alembic node, like support of non-standard nodes, like render procedurals, those animation cycles that we're talking about, and all the setup of the custom operators that we have and use in our pipeline. On the other side, of course, there's a big bunch of rather artist-faced tools, I would say. So everything from layer creation, point cloud manipulation. We have customized the live groups to work with, and in the end, we really think that it's Katana's extensibility that played like a very major role to enable us to deliver all these different projects that have not only very different visual styles, but really different production challenges with the budgets, etc., that they come with. Okay, so now I'll hand over to Philippe, who will explain a bit more of how we actually use Katana in the pipeline.
Thank you, Marcel. Sorry, does not work. Yeah, you hear me? Yeah. Thank you, Marcel. Thank you, everyone, to be here today. So I'm gonna talk to you a bit more about the way we are using our workflow based on the libraries and templates mainly. So here is a basic schematic of how the templates and the libraries and the working scenes interplay together. So on the right, you can see libraries. For instance, the shading library. We have also some render globals library and the lighting library. So to start with the shading library, this is where we define the recipes for the shading for a whole show. The render globals are more a set of different kind of scenes where we define the, for instance, resolution, the type of motion blur, overscans, the AOVs, per departments also. After we work also with templates. So templates can be Katana scenes, but it can be also fully built by script using Python. And at the end, we ended up with working scenes. So yeah, we use also the asset management system to inject information to help build this kind of scenes, working scenes. About the template, to come back to that. Here we have the surfacing template. It can be different for characters or for environment, for instance. On the lower part, we have the shot template. This is the starting point to build a working scene for lighting, for instance, or also for quality check rendering. So yeah, that's it for that slide. This is another kind of library as an example. This one is a lighting library. So you can see a different type of lights here defined as with Arnold nodes. On top of that, we have a bunch of different kind of filters and also a bank of gobo textures. So what is interesting here to see that every filters are shared between each type of lights. So it makes a coherent presentation for the artist to find the parameters. They are always at the same place for them. Here we have a close-up on the type of lights. This is also something where Katana shines a lot to remove complexity from the artist. So for that, we spend a lot of time on the UIs and expose only the useful parameters for them, and trying to reduce as much as possible the amount of parameters. So it's easier for them to read and to do their job at the end. Also, another good point about that is that it makes their training really quicker. So they are really quicker to work well in Katana. And finally, at the end, this kind of library is exported as look file. and they are used directly in the lighting scenes. Here is an example of a shading lib for a show. Again, a shading library is where we define recipes for the shaders. So we always start with the Uber shader. Afterwards, we define presets for characters or the environment. And at the end, all that materials are exported in a look file that is referenced live in a working scene afterwards. So it's really a good strategy for batch updates. Because during a show, the recipe can change a lot and evolve. We add features, we change the look sometimes if the client make the decision to do that. So it's really easy for us to update and change the features during the production, and it's only on one place. So it's really easy to handle and to manage the shading. Here we have a bird's eye view on the network material, an Arnold network material. So you can see that it can be pretty complex, even if you don't see every node, because we are using a lot of groups. This one is probably the most complex we ever did. It's for a current show we are working on. To talk about the templates, here are few shot templates. They are really different, as you can see. They are for 3 different shows, and they have nonetheless some common points, like the dedicated artist space, like on that part. This template system is really useful for us to tailor the way we work on each show, because we have different supervisors for the lighting, and they don't want to work in the same way usually. So these templates are used in the same pipeline nonetheless. So we don't have to change everything for each show. It's just templates. Let's talk about some specific of the surfacing department. This template is for the character surfacing for a show. So at the top you have the inputs, like the camera, that are usually published by the modeling team. So we can share the same camera from the modeling to the surfacing for the turntables. Here are the inputs for the geometry, like Alembic and Yeti if we need. So at the end, no, sorry, I'm a bit. Yes, so to continue, so the shading library is coming here, and afterwards, here is the part where the artist is working really. So he is adding nodes and making overrides to the materials, defining the textures, etc. And on the lower part, we have the render section. So here you can see that we have already presetted different kind of moods to check the surfacing in different type of mood that will be in the current show. So at the end, we use that template, and it produce this working scene for this character called Chains, for instance. So once the working scene is built and the artist has done his work, we are under turntables. So you can see that we can render a lot from the same scene, so the same scene. Also, we can work on several shading variants in the same scene. Here we have 4. And it makes the work of overriding the materials really easier and quicker. Environment surfacing could be a bit tricky because you have to use a lot of different sub assets. So because they are usually done by different artists, they can have some kind of different style, and we need to polish everything so the set is looking good. So there is two strategies for that. So this one, the first one, or we can also make the wall surfacing on an environment in the same place. Usually we prefer the first one because it's quicker. And Katana is really great for that. Let's see some specific of the lighting department now. As Marcel mentioning at the beginning, one key point of the use of Katana is the sequence-based lighting. So this schematic describes a bit the light inheritance during Asterix. So we were working at sequence level first, then on key shots, then on what we call baby shots. Asterix was kind of linear in a way because all shots were delivered from animation as blocks. So the lighters can already light a lot of shots together at that moment. But the reality is now that the animation, the delivering of animations are a lot more fractured. So what we introduce is another level of inheritance. We work firstly on the environment, and afterwards we work on the sequence, and again the key shots and the baby shot. As for many aspects of Katana, we always work from the wider to the more particular. Senior lighters do the lighting of environment for the general mood. They publish a live group, and this is used in the generated lighting scenes. Here is an example of a production inheritance. So this is the establishing. You have the two key shots, one on the left, one on the right, and afterwards, of course, all the baby shots. Lighting quota were adjusted on that show, meaning that we have only 1 day per shot for the baby shots, and the key shots were more 2.5 longer to light. So this shows you the really that the workflow improves really the efficiency for to get really good quota. So sequence-based lighting. This is a working scene. You can clearly identify key shots, baby shots, and even on the top the environment lighting. Each modification at a higher level is inherited at the lower part. So coming first from the environment, then the key shot and the baby shot. And at last, I'd like to talk a bit about the connection we have between lighting and compositing. So at Mikros, we developed a custom tool just to create layers on demand. So as for other type of functionality, we use a template for that too. So we do presets for the characters, for the environment, for the volumetrics, for the effects, for instance. And the pre-compositing is automatically done as a post-process on demand if we want at the render time when the artist send his render on the farm. Another example of this connection is the way that we set the focus plane in Katana. The defocus is then applied in Nuke afterwards. So it helps a lot the artist and the supervisor to focus on the part that needs the most more work than others. So I let the final word to Marcel, and thank you.
Yeah, so now that we have a bit of an overview of how Katana is actually used, we'd like to just insist on one essential point, which is that this system of Katana and how we build, like using it, allows us to scale and scale quite big, actually. But at the same time, and that's very important to us, is that we can still adapt to the individual needs of the projects, which means, not only the visual style, as we said, but also the production realities, the budget, the challenges that come up with the different studios to work with, the production period, of course, and the amount of people that are actually working on the productions, which can vary quite a bit in the projects we are doing. So now we're having here these first 5 feature animation films in production. There's an average shot count of like 1,600, I think, and then there is one long-form episodic as well that is close to something like 9,000 shots, and all these are running in parallel, which means that's like 17,000 shots to be tackled. And that also means that we'll have roughly 120 surfacing artists and 150 lighting artists working in Katana throughout these productions. So that's quite big numbers. But we still think, and we have proved that before, that with the preparation for each production that we're doing, we can actually limit training and onboarding to a very minimum, even for people that haven't touched Katana before, because of all this hiding of complexity and having these templates and library scenes that are pre-made by senior people mostly. So yeah, we are hiring on all of these projects, and actually not only artists, so we're also looking for TDs and developers all the time. So if you're interested, please come and meet Camilla and Mark at our booth E15 here at FMX, or also find the job opportunities at the website mikrosanimation.com. Thanks for listening. That's it from us.